Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. For a little while now I've been on a journey moving from an iMac over to the M1 Mac Mini paired with a Super Ultrawide TV monitor that you can see in front of you now. That journey's taken a little while and has resulted in a bit of a series of videos, and if you want to see how that went, please click on the pop out banner above now. So as with luck would have it, my work computer was actually due for replacement. I was offered the ability to select either a laptop or an iPad Pro, so I thought I'd go for the iPad Pro just to see how I got on for work purposes, but also it gave me a great opportunity for content for the channel. So here it is, the iPad Pro 5th generation 12.9 inch. And to complement that and to make it more usable for myself, I also went ahead and purchased the iPad Magic Keyboard that you can see in front of you now, just to give you that full experience and really make the iPad work for me as best as I could do with all the facilities, options and apps that are available for it. So I won't particularly do a full unboxing for the iPad, as I think we're all pretty familiar with them really. It's pretty standard in the setup. There's only a couple of differences. The primary one being that it's a USB-C connector, not a Lightning. And other than that, the iPad is pretty much similar to all the other variants. Feels good, feels very responsive. I did go and get the Apple Pencil just so I could get the maximum usability out of the iPad. And then I suppose the Magic Keyboard is the only other thing. Good high quality case, blimmin' expensive, there's no getting away from it. It's quite a weighty number. It opens up and snaps in place, gives you a nice keyboard and a trackpad. Also gives you a USB-C connector there so you can charge the iPad in the case while you're using it and still have your USB-C port available for other functions. Snaps in really nicely with magnets, just whizzing around with the trackpad there just so you can see the usability of it. You can still use the touchscreen or the trackpad whilst you're using the Magic Keyboard. It feels very good, very nice case, but you should imagine so for the amount of money it costs. But yeah, it's a good product. Like Apple, it's really quite expensive. You'll see me prodding the screen here. That wasn't trying to press an app, that's just to show you how sturdy it is because of the weight and the counterbalance. I also went and got a couple of other accessories for the iPad just to make sure it works. I got this connector, which is a USB-C connector to HDMI and USB-A and C. Did it just because it was Apple branded and I could guarantee it would work with the home setup. And then also, I suppose it's of special note, because this is a USB-C, not Lightning, it is important that you get a new cable with it, and equally the 20 watt plug, just to make sure that you could really get the juice in the system as you needed it. So moving on to the setup, I've got the Mac Mini connected to the big screen at the moment, and obviously the iPad's just stand alone. You can see they're not connected at the moment, the screens are distinctly different. I actually have an inbuilt USB-C to HDMI box within my system. I bought the Apple socket just in case this didn't work, but I could have saved myself 75 quid and just used this, as it worked really well. So literally just plugged into USB-C, changed the source over on the screen, and the Super Ultrawide monitor is connected basically. Takes a little while for the screen to load up, that's more about the screen than it is. But as you can see, the kind of screen size is actually really quite disappointing, and it kind of mutes the reason for having a Super Ultrawide PC. Connectivity's good, it's sharp, it's crisp, but like I say, there's an awful lot of wasted screen real estate there. It did occur to me that the screen size issues may be being caused by the adapter I was using, which wasn't the Apple one at the time, it was a Lenovo product. So I went ahead and trialled it by simply taking the Lenovo one out of the equation, plugging the HDMI cable into the Apple adapter and putting that into the iPad. Again, it takes a few seconds just for the monitor to recognise the change of input and come to life, but unfortunately it ended in the same result, that the amount of screen available to me was still exactly the same with the Lenovo box or the Apple adapter. I did try various amounts of the settings to try and change the view and the size of the screen, etc. No results really. All it allows me to do is change the size of the text, and no actual changes on the screen. So with no joy from the iPad, I move over to try the settings on the screen, access those and kind of try various different settings. Unfortunately, none of which really had any satisfactory joy. So there's a few settings on the screen to pick from, and I've selected some of them. This one was the only one that made it a bit bigger, but truthfully it just stretched out the text to a point where it wasn't very nice to look at or to read, and all the others kind of seem to scrunch the screen up rather than have any dramatic effect. So if you have got any ideas or suggestions of what I could do, I really am all ears, and I'm happy to try anything, so please leave them in the comments below. With regards to responsiveness, I've actually got nothing but positive to speak about it. As you can see between the two screens, it's pretty much instantaneous, just using Word here, but actually it's really quite crisp, really quite sharp, really quite responsive. Can't really notice any latency between either of the screens. So yeah, good from that perspective. So I did wonder about approaching it slightly differently, and I decided to try the Sidecar functionality between the M1 Mini and the iPad to see if that got some different results with the screen and if I could perhaps reverse engineer that. Unfortunately, I ran into some technical difficulties here. It may work for other people, but as I've said, this is a work iPad, so it's actually managed through a mobile device management system, which means I wasn't able to connect it through Sidecar to my Mac Mini. So that might be a possibility for other people, but it just won't work for me just because of the IT setup from work, which is obviously designed to protect their systems, and there's nothing I can say to do or argue against that because it's pretty much fair comment. And then this is where things got slightly bizarre and confusing. So I reconnected as it was before through the HDMI, and I've had a play about with some various apps and got some different results, but I don't understand why. So if you see here, I'll just bring YouTube up and you can see the kind of standard size that it's presenting on the Super Ultrawide. But then when I bring Notability up, you'll notice the screen size all of a sudden jumps very much wider. I don't know why. It's certainly only Notability that it seems to do it with at the moment, which is quite strange, and well, if anyone can tell me why, I'm all ears. So if you look, the edge of the screens here are just where I'm rather crudely drawing the arrows, and it's at the edge of the screen on the Mac Mini also. YouTube's quite small, and then Notability just goes big for some reason, and I don't know why. If I could use the iPad properly, that is. And if I disconnect the adapter, yes, the screen changes slightly on the iPad, but not noticeably, and the arrows are still at the edge of the screen. I don't know if it's just one of those modern mysteries of technology of why it does that. So in summary, it's really easy to connect the iPad into a monitor. All you really need is an adapter box and an HDMI cable. But I suppose realistically, as we've seen the results for myself, they're a little bit disappointing, and I'm not sure they'll prove much use to me really. There might be the odd occasion, but realistically there's no benefit from a Super Ultrawide for connecting an iPad. I hope you found the video useful and informative. Please leave a like or a comment if you can answer any of my technical questions that I've posed to you. Thanks very much, and please subscribe to the channel.